so much more relaxed now. You're much more comfortable.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I'm Kristina Visscher, and I am an assistant professor at the University of Alabama, Birmingham. I'm a neuroscientist. I study human learning and memory and human attention. And because of that, I thought it was really interesting to hear everyone today talk about how it is that they set, how you decide how a space is going to be filled with paintings, how these minor, relatively minor, seemingly minor changes in where you place paintings impacts very much the way that the paintings are perceived. And I thought it was fascinating to hear curators talk about this, because in essence, what the curators are doing are they're doing little perceptual experiments every time they put something together. And they're exactly the same type of experiments that a lot of neuroscientists do in the lab. And it's neat to see how that works. So for example, they're talking about how placing two paintings too close together can really impede the painting, but too far apart can cause problems as well. And that concept is also is very relevant to ideas of visual crowding, which a lot of neuroscientists are looking at now, which is if you're looking for a particular object in a group of objects, it matters very much how closely spaced those objects are. And just by changing very, very minor details of the stimulus, the picture itself, you can make a particular aspect of that stimulus just pop out. And that's similar to what many people are doing when they're making visual objects. And it's also what curators are doing when they bring them together so that they can get maximum impact. So we talked about these kinds of effects of how very, very small changes in the way the stimuli are presented, the way the images are presented, can impact your perception of them. And I brought up the term bottom up because the stimulus itself is sort of thought of as the bottom of some processing stream. So there's the stimulus all the way up to your sort of cognitive thoughts about that stimulus, or your actions in response to the stimulus. And so these kinds of changes are bottom up. And then there also can be a lot of changes in how you perceive a stimulus that have to do with top-down effects. So top-down is just a shorthand for all the things that you bring to bear on an image or something that you are perceiving that impact the way you perceive it. So for example, if you know a story about a particular image, you know that this is a picture of someone right after they committed a murder, that's going to really impact the way that you see that image, because you might be more likely to perceive a darkness to an image. But if I changed your story about that image and said, this is an image of somebody right after something really wonderful happened to them, you're not going to see, you're going to be less likely to see those dark aspects and might pick up on different aspects of the image. So your semantic information, your memory for relevant information about what is in the image can impact the way that you see it. And similarly, if you know that you're looking for a particular type of item in an image, so for example, you've been told earlier or you've seen images earlier that had a lot of red in them and you were interested in red, the red parts of an image would pop out. And that is going to really change your experience of the image. And in the same way, the text that might accompany an image in a museum would impact the way that you saw the image very strongly.